good night fishing tale. All right, let me see what I can think of. We already did space. Ow, why are these Brussels sprouts so painful? You know what? We're in a jungly area. How about a jungle fish? This was deep in the, there we are. So this fish is a fish that I caught in Sri Lanka. Most specifically, because you know, everybody wants to go to Asia at some point, the Sinharaja Forest Reserve. So yeah. Now, as you know, jungles are dangerous because there's lots of different animals, but it's also okay because animals, that's where they live. So, you know, it's okay. Animals do stuff there. We're kind of the ones who invaded everything, so. I mean, technically by fishing, I'm invading things too, but it's okay because we need to eat something and fish are delicious, and also there's a lot of them, so it's totally okay. Anyway, so we're in the jungles of Sri Lanka, and I was fishing for none other than the famed mottled eel. I don't know how famous mottled eels are. Oh, but eels are delicious! I'm frozen! Anyway, mottled eels. Because I will say this, going on record, eel is delicious. I love eel, especially like eel on rice or just in sushi or in general. So, but yeah. And the thing about eels is they're very long. Like, super long. Probably too long for their own good. But, you know, at the same time, eel is very good. Fried eel, it's usually cooked. I don't know if you can really get it raw. Fried eel is good. I really like eel. I just like it a lot. Oh, is it? I would love to try that. A special kind of, oh, really? What kind of eel? I only know of like the mottled and the striped and the moray because there's that song about the moray. Well, I don't think the song is really about like the moray specifically, but yeah. Anyway, so we were on like a hoverboat because you know the jungle is very thick with plants, and the water really isn't that great for big boats, as you know. It's just not really enough space, and plus hoverboats are just really cool. Anyway, but yeah, hoverboats, very cool. European eel. Oh, it's literally just called the European eel? Dang, I thought there would be like other names of eels. But yeah, so we're on a hoverboat. Of course I had a guide because, you know, I like Asia, but I don't know a whole lot about Asia, except that it's large. There's also really good food. But yeah. Oh, interesting. Never thought about that. So eel, well, I mean, I guess they're similar. Eels are basically like water snakes. Well, there are already water snakes, but you know what I mean, like. So anyway, obviously, as you guys know, or if you don't know, yeah, like I said, in jungles, you need hoverboats because everything's too dense in the vegetation and the water, and it's very sporadic. Jungles are very humid, and also there's probably mosquitoes. I don't know if there's actually mosquitoes in jungles. Maybe there's just mosquitoes in Texas and America. What the hell? Oh, but the hoverboat? I feel like they do that in other places too. I don't know. I don't have time to look up the actual Sri Lankan way of getting around. Maybe they just have like reed boats with like the poles for like wading through the water. A hoverboat, it just seems like a cooler way to go around. What is very special about a jungle that happens nowhere else? Man, what other bugs are there even in the jungle, actually? I know, I figured mosquitoes are a thing because, mosquitoes aren't really around because it's humid. They're more around because there's, like, standing water. And And I feel like there would be quite a bit of standing water in the jungle. At least there's not a lot of like raining and stuff that happen, which can lead to standing water. Which leads to things being gross and being like, wow, mosquitoes freaking suck. So yes, aside from mosquitoes and things like that, there are lots and lots of beetles in the jungle, if you didn't know. Because, you know, beetles like, I don't know, they like the jungle. I mean, they like food, and there's a lot of food in the jungle because there's a lot of very small other bugs and things to eat. Not that I needed to eat bugs, because there were fish. Like, I don't know, the eels I was catching. But you may not know this, and it's totally true, even though I haven't actually done any research on the subject, but mottled eels love beetles too. Which is why they're a part of the, oh God! Which is why they're a part of the bait. Not the beetles, well, they don't eat the beetles whole because they're too fancy for that. But they do like the beetle flavor, so you know, it's kind of like, you know how I had to use the mothballs for the ghost barracuda? And look, there's continuity here. There's gonna be a quiz later on these fish. Oh God! You need a ball of beetle, and you basically mash up the beetle, which it seems kind of cruel, but either way, the beetle is gonna get eaten by the fish. So really, it could be worse, right? But yeah, it's basically like a mishmash of beetle grubs and some other stuff, and then you form it into a little ball, and you put it on your hook, and then you have the perfect eel attracting bait. Yeah, it's like a beetle nugget, basically, which, now that I think about it, that sounds super gross, but we're people, we don't eat beetles, so, you know, sometimes that's just how it be. But yeah, so you put that beetle ball on there, and the thing about these eels is that they're very shy. So it's really weird. You have to cast from really, really far away. And granted, as a master fisherman, I know I said I was a professional, but I'm a master fisherman, which I guess is technically still professional, just with some extra flair. Yeah, beetle nugget exists, at least on The Sims. Dang, Sims is a very forward-thinking game. But yeah, you take your little beetle nugget and you stick it on your fish hook. But like I said, you have to, basically what you have to do, because obviously you can only cast so far, but you have to cast as far as you can, and then you walk about another 50 meters away. And then you just kind of wait. It's a little weird because you have to make sure that there's plenty of slack on your line. So that way it's easier to tell when they jerk the line. Because obviously you want to be able to tell when the fish is, or when the eel is tugging, so that way you can quickly reel them in. But yeah. And then you have to wait. Sometimes it takes a few hours, and I know you're like, dang, that's an awful long time. Aren't you a professional? And yes, I am a professional, but also fishing takes time because you have to be patient. And you can't wiggle the bait around. It's really weird, but these eels only like to eat things that are perfectly still. So you just have to wait until you feel that tug. And then basically what you have to do is, obviously from like 70 meters away, you can't really reel in this fish because it's gonna go over all sorts of just whatever. So what you have to do is as soon as you start reeling in the fish, you have to make a mad running dash towards where you dropped the line, so that way you can basically meet the fish halfway. It's really just common courtesy to do so after it worked so hard, and you worked so hard. You also need to make sure you have a long enough bag, because eels are very long, so you need a long bag. It doesn't need to be fireproof like the space fish, because thankfully eels on Earth don't have rockets attached to them, which is good. It would probably mess up the flavor a little. It's a little too charred for my taste. But yeah, and that's how you catch the eel. The mottled eel. I almost forgot what it was called. Because, you know, just sometimes that's what happens. But yeah. And mottled eels are delicious, either as sashimi or over rice, as usual. They also pair very well with white wine. I don't really drink a lot of wine, but when I do drink wine, it's with fish, because fish pair with wine. You always want to make sure you have a good fish one, because you know what? You're worth it. Also, if you ever catch eel, make sure to always, as a common courtesy, if you have somebody who's running a boat for you, make sure you give them some of the catch, because it's only common courtesy. Because I mean, they did take your ass all over Sri Lanka. If you went to Sri Lanka, if you didn't go to Sri Lanka, don't worry about that. But yeah. Also, remember, eels are endangered, so try not to catch too many. They are delicious, but remember, just because something's delicious doesn't mean you should eat it out of existence. That's what my mom always told me. Or she probably would have told me, because, you know, we care about him at this house. But yes, so yeah, make sure you fish responsibly. Don't overfish. I mean, there's some, like, shitty fish that you could fish day and night and they'd never depopulate. But, oh God. But when it comes to eels, they're definitely very endangered. So fishing them might actually be irresponsible, but I usually only ever catch 1 or 2 for the sake of doing so. Plus I mean, you can get a lot of eel off of 1 eel, so there's really no point in catching multiple eels unless you're feeding a lot of people, or if you know that they're in a stable environment. This is an educational moment for everybody if you want to get into fishing, specifically eels. But yeah, remember, fish responsibly, because we're not the only ones around on this weird blue planet. So yeah, eels, delicious, but also endangered. So don't catch too many. Sri Lanka was really nice though. The jungle was nice. There are also other fish you can catch. I just went with eel because I really like eel. Well, I really like eating eel. Maybe that's really bad. Maybe that's like, I chose a story about chickens because I really like eating chickens. But I mean, it's not untrue. Chicken is, well, I like chicken. Not everybody likes chicken. But yeah, just remember, eat responsibly.